10 years ago, I felt like I'd gotten to the point where I was doing pretty well. So that meant it was time to quit and go do something else. So my wife and I, we left our private practice. Well, I left the private practice and she left with me. And we started working internationally only. So I don't have a practice in the US anymore. I still have a license there, but I don't practice there at all. And have set up a number of training programs in various places over the past years. And my particular interest was in this procedure that we're going to be talking about here. In a procedure that I found to be something that really met a need. And the places I was working had great need. And so I was always looking for something that could do the best job, give the best outcomes, and take care of all the problems. In a lot of the environments I was working, I decided I was really so good at phaco that I could do phaco in any circumstance. I was dead wrong. I tried, but it didn't work very well. And fortunately, I gave up pretty quick trying to do phaco in all the situations. And finally, I got it clear in my head that phaco is designed for a certain patient population. It's designed for a certain type of problem. It's excellent for that type of problem. But if you have something beside that problem, it's not so good. And all the things that I see in my home in the US that are done to try to make it work for all sorts of problems are lots of extra little gadgets and things that are used so that you can keep using that one procedure even if it's not quite the right operation for that patient. So I don't like that. So I've been looking for something that would help me take better care of patients who have the right type of problem. So I hope we'll have a good time these next few days with the team. Dr. Brown is very experienced at this, and he's going to be helping me with the lecture. Though he is sitting at the moment trying to look like he's invisible, he will be also assisting with this, right? Correct? Is it okay? Just wanted to make sure. So when I tap on the tag team, I'll tap his shoulder, and then it's his turn. You see, he doesn't know when that will happen, but he'll be ready. So anyway, we're very grateful for the chance to be here, and especially excited that it's such a diverse group. You're from all over. That must be great fun for you all to work together. Many of the environments I worked on with an organization called Mercy Ships for many years. And it was on a ship of about 350 people, and there was about 35 to 40 different countries there at any one time represented there. So I'm quite comfortable with a diverse group. In fact, it feels the most natural to me. When I'm at home, I don't feel quite so right. Something's wrong. I'm not sure what it is. But this is quite natural, so I'm very grateful to have a chance to share with you and work together to try to produce this, try to help you with getting this going. Okay, any questions before we start? This is a little bit of a longish, a little bit longer presentation. I apologize for that. But I don't know a better way to cover the whole spectrum. We could do it in two parts, but I felt since we only have a few days, Dr. Rodriguez was kind enough to give me the whole time to do this whole lecture at once instead of in two parts, since we only have a few days to do this. So I appreciate that. But any questions? Anybody? Questions? Okay. As I said, we needed to look for a high-quality alternative for cataract removal. And I think it's a mistake to think of cataract surgery as two. There's the low-quality version, and then there's the high-quality version. I think it's a mistake to think of phaco as the only high-quality version. I have proof otherwise. I can prove to you that phaco is not the only high-quality alternative. So if you'll give me the chance to do that, I think we will see that we have a good option. It's not better than phaco. I'm not saying that. In some ways, phaco is better. But in some ways, MSICS is better than phaco. One thing is for sure, it's better than traditional extracap. Either this or phaco is considerably better than extra cap, and I'll show you that literature. It's ideal whether you want to do high quality, but you would also like to do high volume, but you don't have the high-tech instruments or the equipment to do that. And it provides a good, good morning. We're just getting started. So would you say anything before we start? Or welcome. Okay. Thank you. So we've just started. Thank you for coming. Provides a good alternative, and I just point you to this article right here by Harry Priya and Chang, just recently published, 2012. That's why I put the annotation up there if you want to look at it. What it points out is that it's actually the best pathway to learning phacoemulsification. So I'm not here to replace phaco or say that don't even worry with that. I'm here to say I think you have an alternative that's high quality and works with phacoemulsification beautifully. It gives you a way to go from one to the other. You can go back and forth between these two procedures quite nicely. And that's ideally what we'd all want to do. You want the right procedure for the right patient and be able to use either of those two techniques. Okay? And fortunately, we have some good data now that says that that's exactly what this does, just recently published. Some of the features, so it's quite flexible, it's quick. You know, my average case time is about 4.5 minutes, maybe 5 sometimes. And if you get the right kind of cataract, you know, 2.5 to 3 minutes is possible, certainly doable without feeling rushed. The idea isn't to win a race. The idea is to do a good job, to not waste movements, to operate efficiently and effectively. We want to do that with any technique we're using. It just happens when you do that with this technique, it can be quite efficient at removing the nucleus and putting in the lens and so on. But it's highly dependent on good training, and that's why it's important as you walk into this here in this program that it's going to be part of the high quality standard that you have here. That's why there's so many nations here. That's why there's so many of you here, because you have that quality standard already. So we need to add to that, not disrupt it. Rapid recovery. So one of the other great things about it, my pen just died here. Oh, there it goes. Let's see if it's still, oh, yeah. So the postoperative period is very quick, and there's relatively little induced astigmatism. Actually, the recent studies, it's comparable to phaco. I won't show you all those studies, but I have a bibliography at the end of this. And if you want to copy this presentation, then it'll be easy to get to that bibliography so you can look at all that data at your leisure. And since it's sutureless, it doesn't require dealing with the sutures like you have to with the traditional extra caps. The low cost is a nice feature, and it's one of the things that really makes it attractive in an environment where you may need a lower cost alternative. We were just looking at La Romana yesterday, for example. Difficult to maintain high-end equipment, difficult to afford high-end equipment and the supplies that go with it, and depends where you all might be going to work after this. You may want to look at this as a good standard that will keep your costs down as you transition into a practice. You have to make good business sense, make good business decisions as you're walking into your new practice, right? And so you can't start off with the most high cost, most expensive equipment. You have to start with what works for your situation. And this may be a good pathway into that. David, would you add anything to some of these points before I go on to the technique itself? Any observations or thoughts that you have?
I would just highlight that probably for most of the world, this would be the appropriate dominant technique.
Yeah. So you would, just for the recording here, so his comment was just that for most of the world, this is a standard. It's the dominant technique.